Murder Plot. Book 3 of the Sam Rader thriller series, written by Simon King, narrated by Kiiri Sandy. Chapter 1. It was the smell that brought clarity to the situation for Boyd, the same heavy dampness as he was used to back in his cell. He looked around nervously, dropping a little lower to the ground as he tried harder to sink into the shadows. But the old crate wasn't the ideal cover and only partially shielded him, the overhead lamps keeping the underground tunnel faintly illuminated. The many columns kept most of the tunnel hidden from him, but also acted as a shield for himself. If he couldn't see far, neither would those chasing him. Boyd turned his head a little, pointing his good ear towards where he knew his pursuers to be. Their footfalls had faded out down the narrow side passage only a minute before, courtesy of his ruse. They had caught wind of his trail within minutes of him leaving his cell, and Boyd wondered whether they were in fact using a tracking dog or some other means of locating him. None of that mattered, though, escape the only thing at the forefront of his mind. He had to find the exit, the only chance at freedom he would ever have. If he didn't, Boyd knew the men now chasing him would end it for him as surely as if he was a rat caught in a trap. The silence was almost maddening as he held his breath, carefully listening for evidence of his pursuers. It also kept the stink out of his nostrils, the odor making his stomach turn. He looked at the wall beside him, the water stains appearing ancient on the old concrete walls. What was this place? An old holding yard beneath the prison? He didn't care, peering around again in search of his next hiding spot. The dozens of columns that held the roof up were scattered throughout the open space like an ancient Greek temple. If anything, they gave a great place to hide. Running in short spurts was better than a continuous sprint. If he just madly dashed from one corridor to the next, they would surely hear and put an end to him. He found that with very short bursts, he could control the noise he made, reducing the chances of the others finding him. All he had to do was stealth his way along this wall, stopping briefly to hide whenever possible, assess each section and ensure his pursuers weren't onto him. He had been told about the labyrinth of tunnels beneath the prison several times during the past few months, with some claiming their histories stretched all the way back to the late 1880s. Although Boyd had done time in several jails, including San Quentin, those had been nursery schools compared to the experiences he'd had since finding himself at Bolton. At most prisons, the warden remained behind closed doors.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?